It's just fantastic.
Captain's Log, Subdate 210810.2. We've started increasing unit sweeps to 3 times daily as we've noticed 1 or 2 inmates a tad higher than usual. As a consequence, we're also going to reduce their glue huffing rec time. Welcome everyone to the Halls of Injustice. Today we welcome inmate number 083, Sophie Hindmarch, a 27-year-old mother of 3 from Penrith, Cumbria. And before we even start, I want to play a game. As we have a female inmate, guess the crime. It shouldn't take you long. As this series progresses, I'm starting to get the distinct impression that I'm going to have to increase the size of the wing that Sophie Hindmarch will now be inhabiting with many other inmates, the majority of which are female. The crime that Sophie Hindmarch has committed took place between the 1st of November 2019 up until December 26th of the same year. So if you manage to successfully guess the nature of the crime that she has committed, the next part won't surprise you. Sophie Hindmarch started messaging a 14-year-old boy. Initially, this had in fact begun on Snapchat. The messages were themselves flirty, and it didn't take long for Sophie to just wiggle enough in there for it to be escalated to more physical interactions. This would include pictures and videos of a very highly criminal variety. I am quite impressed that with her having 3 children, she managed to do this and continue to do what happened next, without those same children noticing, or neighbours. But I'm sure it happens. Let's just pretend no one noticed. Eventually, Sophie Hindmarch invited the boy over to her home, and at some point convinced him that he had left his lighter upstairs, to which she then followed him upstairs, and thus began incident number 1, which has been listed by all sources I've got down below as sex with. This is incorrect. It is by definition statutory rape. Why? Because the person in question, the victim, is a minor. Anyone under the legal age in that country is a minor, and therefore it is statutory rape. We do have to be consistent on this. Male, female, doesn't matter. If you are not legally able to consent, it is not sex with. Over that same period of 2 months where this happened, this abuse took place, between 10 and 13 times. We know this because of the victim, by the way. It was referenced as such by the prosecutor Hugh McKee on one of the occasions where Sophie Hindmarch sexually abused the teenager. She used her mobile phone to film herself in the act. Now, at some point between that and the boy deciding enough was enough, Sophie had indicated that she wanted the boy to simply delete and remove all incriminating evidence. Scorched Earth 101, everyone. Erase all evidence and you're 100% innocent, right? No, she is not innocent. She is about as innocent as Prince Harry is not a cuck. I mentioned very specific dates because they're referenced in the article, but also because that was around the time that the boy decided, the victim, he had had enough. So he told his father, who had then alerted the police of the abuse, which led to Sophie Hindmarch being arrested, her mobile phones and other devices being seized along with those from the schoolboy, where they found a number of sexualized messages shared between the pair. Initially, Sophie Hindmarch had in fact denied any and all offences, so 9 charges of sexual activity with a minor. This changed when it went to a courtroom, by the way. Skip ahead quite a long time because, well, yeah, coronavirus pushed this back a bit. We get to February of 2021, where Sophie Hindmarch did in fact enter a plea of guilty. Shortly after, she was granted bail with several conditions. These conditions included prohibition on the defendant going into a named street in Penrith, no doubt the street the boy lived on, a prohibition on her contacting the boy she allegedly touched sexually. And an additional stipulation which is quite interesting, that she must not have any unsupervised contact with any child. Now to me that last one is quite interesting, because I earlier told you she was a mother of 3, right? Yes. The word any ensures that she cannot be around her own children, which you would have thought would be enough of a motivator to not go out of one's way to commit a crime, and then be so arrogant as to think that if you simply delete it, it never happened, fundamentally forgetting that a huge swath of information can in fact be recovered from a phone even if it has been erased. During the trial, Sophie Hindmarch's defense had an ace. Now this ace in the hole actually became quite useful, perhaps handy, because it became a mitigating factor, one I'm sure many people are now lining up to use or get diagnosed with, just in case they get that itch for younger blood. The ace in question is more commonly known as complex post-traumatic stress disorder. The reason why is because Sophie Hindmarch is a victim of domestic violence, something which the judge Andrew Jeffries QC said that factor alone is a substantial mitigation in the case. My view on this is actually in line semi with what Detective Constable Emma Armstrong said. Hindmarch initially denied before pleading guilty. She was in fact aware that what she was doing was wrong, telling the victim to delete messages between them. While that does show either remorse or arrogance, the fact remains she and a minor, not acceptable. In a similar case involving a teacher, male, and a underage student who I believe was 15 at the time, that man, well, he got a lot longer as a sentence. And I say similar because there is an obvious discrepancy, difference even, but the fact remains. He got a far more severe sentence, and this is another one of these cases where you're going to hear the sentence and be like, reverse it. Female young lady, male adult. And every time he will get a harsher sentence than what a female adult would get for a underage person. So as she eventually pled guilty to 9 charges of having sex with an underage person, she was found guilty. Spoken intentionally wrong because the rest of this is going to make you think that the judge is an utter clown. With this we get to a sentence. The sentence is as follows. For those 9 charges, which I think we can all agree, bad. I know someone's going to now say, yeah, but he's almost legal. We have age of consent for a reason. Sophie Hindmarch, inmate 083, was handed a sentence of 2 years and 9 months. She's also subject to an indefinite sexual harm prevention order. We have spoken of those before, usually with these kinds of crimes, oddly enough, the vast majority of which are female. She also must sign the sex offenders register. I can agree with the last 2, but the sentence not so much, because of what we get in the United Kingdom and in other countries where they do this laughable thing of good behaviour. You get to leave early. For 32-month sentence, she'll be out in just under a year and a half, which to me is unacceptable. I don't care that she has children. She didn't care. I don't care if she's been a victim of abuse of her own. It does not justify, nor should it diminish, what she did as a crime. I certainly don't consider being a victim of DV to be a mitigating factor in deciding you want to get your jollies off with a 14-year-old. And I know someone's now going to insert perhaps it was because she then felt powerful. Not good enough. So off you pop into your cell, this very cell. Enjoy your time because my sentence, because I'm a dick, 10 years. Have fun with that. As we're done, I'd like to know what you all think. So please do let me know in the comments down below. As a final thing, I shall be streaming on Twitch tonight. If I don't see you there, it is linked down below by the way. I hope you'll have a fantastic day. And thank you all very much for listening.